Joining us on the program right now, though, very pleased to have with us Tom Matlack, founder of the Good Men Project. GoodMenProject.com is the website. And Tom, thanks for coming on the program this evening.
Thanks a lot, Cam. Great to be with you.
You know, I ran across your post at the Huffington Post yesterday, and I thought it was absolutely fascinating, the responses you got to this question of, was the question that you asked, in essence, why do guys own guns?
Yeah, I was also to say, is there something about like physically holding a gun that makes you more of a man?
Huh. Is there something about physically holding a gun that makes you more of a man?
Yeah. So what about guns and manhood are go together, basically? Yeah.
What I thought was really interesting in light of those questions, the responses you got from gun owners, I would say largely poo-pooed the idea that there's any sort of additional manliness that comes with holding a gun. It seemed to me as I was reading from some of the folks who, let's say, weren't all that positive about gun ownership, that's where you got the sort of, well, Dr. Valerie Lane Simonson, licensed naturopathic physician and shaman from Hawaii, said in the U.S. we live in a society that is fear-based. Men haven't been supported in the innate ability to feel safe in this world. They're taught at a young age that they need to conquer and destroy and are given guns to create this false sense of security. Tom, I got to ask. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's written by a woman, which is kind of interesting. We've kind of run along. We've written a lot recently about how women seem to be writing in the Wall Street Journal and then Slate and a whole bunch of other places about men being, the end of manhood, basically. It's kind of ironic. Yeah, I would agree with you that basically people who were against gun ownership were probably more willing to say that it had something to do with manhood, and that there's probably something negative about that affiliation, and that in general the comments we got across the board were from folks who were in favor of gun ownership, that it wasn't really a gender issue at all. It was really about guns.
Were you surprised to get those responses, Tom?
I was surprised, but if you read the kind of open to it,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I kind of think there is a little something about holding a gun that's manly myself, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I grew up in a pacifist Quaker household, and so I was taught as a kid, not to like guns, and a bunch of guys in my neighborhood went off to a handgun course, and I went along this because I was kind of fascinated by it, and holding a revolver did make me feel good. So what can I say?
Now, did it? But there's a difference, Tom, I think, between feeling good and feeling like you're more of a man.
Well,
And I guess I come at this from, I did not grow up in a gun-owning household, and I talked about this last night. I was actually raised by a single mom. My parents got divorced when I was 8. I didn't become a gun owner until I was 23, after I got married and became an instant father and was supporting a family of 4 on $6.60 an hour, and lived in a pretty crappy neighborhood, and wanted a gun for personal protection and for those that I cared about. And I've never, I'll be honest with you, Tom, I've never thought about how my gun ownership related to my manliness.
Yeah. And so do women in your life carry guns?
My wife has had sort of, I guess, an evolved position. When we got married, she was, I would say, gun neutral. And over the past couple of years, she has changed her mind. She actually was driving down the interstate one night and saw a car on the side of the road with its hazards on, and she didn't feel comfortable. She didn't feel safe stopping to help the person out because she was by herself. And that was sort of her moment where she said, I'd like to be able to do nice things for other people. I'd like to be able to stop and say, hey, do you need any help? But I also want to be able to protect myself. And that was kind of what made her change her mind about carrying a firearm.
Right. Well, the other piece of this, which I was actually in the article to begin with, and we just had too much material, so that it got kind of pushed off to a footnote, is the idea of the male warrior, basically, our men overseas, and how weapons play a role in their identity. And I think maybe that's part of it as well, which is that I've done a lot of interviews of men serving in Afghanistan and Iraq and coming back from there, and frankly, the folks over there who are covering those wars. And, those are some tough guys. And, those aren't women. Those are guys on the front lines who are giving their lives. And, I think, they're using those weapons to protect themselves and to try and, whether you agree with the war or not, put their life on the line. To me, that's a certain amount of manhood right there. And so I guess maybe I'm influenced by that and a lot of the kind of graphic footage and pictures that and descriptions, firsthand descriptions I've gotten through reporting on those wars.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of the notion that Carol Lieberman, M.D., put forth, the former chair of the National Coalition on TV Violence, that men are unconsciously attracted to guns because guns are phallic symbols, Tom? Are we compensating for something?
Yeah, that's bullshit. I don't believe that. To me, it's kind of like, I really haven't been exposed to that many guns other than, through reporting on the wars.
Yeah.
And so, like, just the literal physical feeling of, I like the, not even the Glock or any of that stuff, just the old-fashioned revolver, the feeling of an old-fashioned revolver in your hand. You kind of feel like dirty hair. It's kind of cool,
Well, I tell you what, are you based out in California?
No, I'm in Boston, actually.
Oh, you're in Boston. Okay, well, gun law is just as bad as California. In that case, next time, if you're ever in the Northern Virginia area, let me know. We'll take you out to the NRA range, and I'm sure that we could have some cool firearms that you have not had a chance to shoot yet, and let you get your hands on those.
All right, that'd be cool.
All right, Tom, thank you so much for coming on the program, sir. It's a real pleasure.
All right, Ken, I appreciate it.
Tom Matlack with the Good Men Project. Again, the website is goodmenproject.com, and want to thank Tom for interviewing all of those people with such a wide and varied opinion.